Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Warzone video. In this video we're going to compare the BRUEN MK9 to the recently buffed HOLGER. The reason for this video is that the HOLGER has been slowly getting buffs over every update, and now it's at the point where I think it can compete against some of the best guns inside Warzone. The most recent update saw an increase to its damage range and also an increase to the aim down sight speed. And not too long ago we received an update where they actually improved the recoil pattern on the HOLGER as well, and we'll take a look at all of this inside this video and then compare it to the BRUEN. Before we get into the details of this video, we know that the majority of you watching this right now are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you keep up to date with everything regarding weapon balancing inside Season 5, and also you can see the weapon comparison videos as soon as they release. In the patch update 1.25 of yesterday's update, we also got a nerf to the BRUEN, and that was to its damage range, but I do still believe the BRUEN is the best gun inside Warzone at the moment, even after this nerf. And I honestly believe that the HOLGER actually fits into the meta right now, especially with the stats we're going to show you today. Taking a look at the stats on the screen here, we can see that the BRUEN's headshot damage is 46, 42, 33. The body shot damage is 34, 30, 22, and then the HOLGER is very similar to what you'd find on an assault rifle. As a matter of fact, the HOLGER's actually very similar in many ways to the M4A1, and it actually has some slight benefits to it as well. Something to keep in mind about the HOLGER is that its longest barrel is the default barrel that you actually get, so the only additional damage range you can get is using the monolithic suppressor. The rate of fire for both of these guns are exactly the same, however the time to kill on the BRUEN is going to be that much better just because it does do much more damage. Now this time to kill value for the HOLGER actually looks pretty bad when you look at it compared to the BRUEN, but actually it kills on the exact same frame for the first two damage drop off points as the M4A1. After the patch, the BRUEN actually got a reduction to its damage range, and this is where the HOLGER actually performs a bit better than the BRUEN. As you can see, the damage drop-offs stretch a bit further than what you'd get with the BRUEN. Even though the HOLGER stretches a bit further, the BRUEN's time to kill at those ranges is still lower, and therefore the BRUEN still performs a bit better than the HOLGER in this area. The mobility of the HOLGER actually makes it a feasible gun, especially inside of Warzone. The aim down sight speed is 367 milliseconds, which is very similar to a lot of the assault rifles inside Warzone. And this is also factoring in its 100 round mags. The reload time on the HOLGER is 2.52 seconds, which for 100 round mags is actually pretty good. If you look at the 100 round mags on the BRUEN for example, you're actually looking at a 4 to 5 second reload time, so the HOLGER definitely performs much better than that. If you use a sleight of hand attachment, you can actually reduce this even further, but we'll talk about that later on when we talk about the class setup. So the reason why the 60 round mags is so popular with the BRUEN is because everyone wants their mobility back, but the HOLGER actually beats this even with the 100 round mags, so that's definitely an advantage you get, especially inside Warzone when you need to take on multiple squads. So looking at the class setups that we actually compared, looking at the BRUEN, we have the following class setup. Now this is the most popular class setup, so I don't need to run through this. For the HOLGER, I initially tested this exact class setup right here. So it's the default barrel, the monolithic suppressor, the tac laser, the commando foregrip, the stipple grip tape, and sleight of hand. The idea here was to make the ADS time and the mobility exactly the same as an assault rifle. What I would definitely recommend after some testing is to use the hollow sight or the VLK optic and take off that tac laser. I was initially going to suggest using an iron sight for the HOLGER, but unless you have a good enough blueprint like I have in the gameplay here, an optic will definitely help you control that recoil much better. Now after all of these stats changes to the HOLGER, it seems as if this could easily fit inside the assault rifle category, but an important thing we need to consider is the recoil patterns. So on the very left we tested the BRUEN and the HOLGER with no attachments, down the middle is with the recommended attachments, and at the very right we have it controlled with the attachments. At the very left, the base BRUEN and the base HOLGER actually perform really well in terms of recoil. This actually does not look too difficult to manage to begin with, but after we put on the attachments, these recoil patterns actually straighten out even further and make it much more easier to manage. We can see that there's actually almost no horizontal bounce on either one of these two guns, and most people may actually prefer the recoil pattern on the HOLGER because it actually goes upwards and to the right, much similar to the GRAU and also the M4. And on the very right you can see it is very easy to control both the BRUEN and the HOLGER in terms of recoil. So what can we actually take from this? After all these small updates to the Holger, it's actually become a really usable gun inside Warzone. You get all the mobility benefits of an assault rifle whilst also getting the benefit of a larger mag size of an LMG. And not to mention its recoil pattern is really easy to control, as most people prefer an upwards and to the right recoil pattern with no horizontal bounce. So the answer, can this take over the BRUEN? Now if the BRUEN continues the way it's going and it does get nerfed again, then definitely this could be the #1 best gun inside Warzone. It has a really great damage profile which is similar to those of the M4, and it also has a really great recoil pattern with having a large magazine size. Let us know what you think about the Holger down in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button as it helps YouTube recommend us to more people. And we know you've been enjoying a lot of these videos, so thank you for all the support. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And that's all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.